Hi everyone. Today we will talk about relationships. This is the channel is supposed to work about connections also. And lately I've been observing that I was more into this business strategy and entrepreneurial mode. So let's begin. And let's begin with the current scenario of 2026. And I'm not going to go about very old back and very new content also. Let's I wanted to bring about this very interesting phenomena from this movie I recently saw. The idea is there is this couple, protagonist, both the protagonists, and typical Indian Bollywood script, where these couples are going to Croatia for their cruise festival. And what hit me there, so I'm not going to go to the entire story. What hit me there was this particular scene when there is a whole vibe and a chemistry going on. There's a connection, and some interestingly, some non-verbal cues can be observed and learned from there. But my point is not that. Someday I will teach about that also, how to connect on a non-verbal platform. This Mr. A and Miss B. I'm not going to use the exact names. I'm not going to use because I know copyright strikes and these things can happen at any time. Although there's a subsection and fair use is permitted under 241B, so let's not get there. A asks B, "Ki, let's have a good night." Well, let's. Why am I ashamed of saying that? So, B says, I'm not interested. I don't really meet men on the first date. Fair enough. But then this something, this word, this guy A says, what if I tell you I'm married? And now it so happens that the equation changes in the movie, in the script. First of all, and then there's a whole steamy scene, and things go, and even after that, there's a continuation on the same thing that I'm not actually married, and then there was a whole fiasco. My one observation is how many women actually do that. Number one. See, the intent of that scene was to incite fear or incite anxiety in the minds of men. See how many women go out for work. Not even children, not even out. This can happen even in a housewife setting also. But now the men will also be thinking, he, if this lady is going out, I'm not denying workplace affairs do happen, but they don't happen as much as they are seen, or as much as they're fantasizing. There's a problem with Indian culture is you suppress sexual insights so much that they come up in the perversions of mental land. Like the Alices of Indian, the Alices are roaming around their wonderland, metaphorically. So, this particular type of statements are meant to create anxiety just so that you are devoid of your of a relationship which could have been very beneficial, which could have been very fulfilling, and just to put in deep rooted fears. Always fears are there, and so to a certain point, they're very natural and very desirable also. How else will you maintain a control check on both of the partners? Because yes, relationships come with a certain equanimity or synergy, but the kind of hatred and insecurities being projected, the kind of insecurities being transmitted is not very beneficial. See, why is this happening? Because as many creators will point it out, it is done so that you can be kept in a lonely and frustrated state, and an economy can benefit out of you. That's very real. As a business, like, as a strategist, I would, I observe these things. Like we make a living out of that. I'm an AI engineer primarily, but I do that. So there is a big incentive in keeping people lonely and frustrated, and these are the mechanisms. See, media and everything is just an executioner or an implanter. Like people, how many of my audience, my viewers, have watched this movie called Inception? If you have watched Inception, please comment. Whatever is happening, isn't it Inception? Research this exists at the level that which kind of neurocluster, like in an image, if you vary the intensity of the clusters by a few pixels, that can directly impact your certain neural clusters. So you can directly embed subliminally. Subliminal communication, rhetoric, and everything, they are the centuries old subjects. So whatever is happening is not new. It's just different. Ever noticed that why these movies are so bloody loud nowadays? Overstimulating, over-titillating everywhere. There's only one movie that I found which is very, very substantial and not overstimulating, which is Mahavatar Narasimha. Other than that, every movie is so much graphics, so much sound, because all of this is happening behind the scene, subconsciously as well as consciously. Now, fundamental fact is your awareness is the first step. And awareness, the kind of notice that you do, that the kind of things that you can notice, is the very first step to start absorbing and observing and try to come out. That is the very first step. Observation is the first step to come out of these situations. You don't need to worry. My message to men is you don't need to worry about so much. How to maintain synergy in a relationship, that is something that has to be learned. But going in with the thought that things can go wrong, you will probably do at an average case, people will do actions that cause major harm out of fears and insecurities than the phenomenon itself. And who says that Indian legal system? See, one thing is Indian legal system. Like so many people are afraid of Indian legal system. Let me tell you, I have personally met 40 to 50 men, those who have won court cases like these. I have printed paper of one verdict in such a case where the court, civil court of Bangalore, awarded a man compensation from a woman. The case was genuine, obviously. And the guy, you meet the guy is not actually afraid of these things. Idea is don't fall into the narratives. Because everybody is worried about so many narratives. People are worrying about what is the political narrative over there. And mostly you have chosen one or two factions. But let's think about the narrative now. Who is helped by this thing? An equivalent game is playing out for women also. Almost everything is attacking. So that is what my point is. See, you marry or not, I don't really care. But honestly, why should I meddle in your personal life? But one thing is understand that the fear psychosis, the fear energy that is being given to you is actually harming you, not taking you anywhere. Start recognizing it. That I'll give a wonderful movie review about that particular movie, and that review would be in Hindi, probably. But understand, when you are entering a relationship, this is mostly for men and women also. Don't need to fall into like narratives uh, which are just being propagated without being aware about things. There is no fascination in anybody to create an affair unless your equation is already dead. That's a difference. So how do you revive your relationship? That's a topic for another day. But very first thing is stop, start recognizing and stop being bloody afraid of everything. Of how to remove fear at a fundamental level, we'll talk about it. That's a very advanced thing that I'm not going to share, depending on this response on this video. So please like this video and please share it to your friends. Even kabhi kabhi sometimes you should benefit your enemies also, but please try to actually share, propagate this video as much as possible. No need to absolutely be afraid without observing the semantics or schematics. And with that, just just noticing without judgment will give you some of these superpowers. And see, relationships are messy, they don't have to be sufferable, but they are any day better. In the long run, pain of relationship is much better than the pain of loneliness. I've seen countless people at 35 to 40, and some of them have approached me much more good looking than me. And see, it's never about looks. Yes, insecurities or fears are being implanted. Let's pluck the weeds out and throw them, burn them, disintegrate them, whatever do you do. And probably start recognizing some of these traits within you also. Where am I thinking, and where the things are coming up? Maybe from your parent. Some situation happened at your, like, let's say, in family, some buaji or some buddy got divorced, and that situation was very bad. Doesn't mean that it is to repeat with you. Although genetic tendencies not do not work exactly like that, and mental tendencies can always be. So generational curse breakers are also there. Like the loop doesn't have to obviously continue. Start observing, start recognizing. I'll bring depending on your interests, I'll bring more and more content for men as well as women, as well as people who are trying to have same-sex relationships. Or I don't have any qualms or judgments around that. I'll bring up more on this content depending on your response. So do like this video, do share, do populate. Sometimes even benefit your enemies also. Don't worry, it's not happening anywhere. Stay tuned. Follow for more.